Testing, testing.
Yeah, I'm just going to do a quick, very quick intro. How are you? It's in there. But you gotta work. Okay. Yep. I'll check that out. Come on. We're starting small, see how it goes. But yeah, so we're going I have another question for you from her. Oh. Okay. All right. Jack or Gary, do one of you want to do the Pledge of Allegiance? Okay, great. Okay. All right. All right. All right. I think we're ready. It's 7 o'clock. All right. Good evening, everyone. If you could take your seats, we are ready to start. It is 7 o'clock. We can. We're, I mean, I'd be really uncomfortable with them getting into. If we said you should not be here, so I think we could do
Put it up to the bottom. I've always loved that street. You gotta get some people on the video.
for those All right, guys, let's go ahead. Let's get started. Okay, Julie. Guys, this is our last warning. I really want to get started. Sir, we'd really like to get started. Yeah, everybody. Sorry, I'm trying to get everybody's attention so we can get started. It is 7. Welcome, guys. We have a full agenda. We really want to keep going and get started. The first thing we're going to do is go ahead and have a moment of silence. We have, unfortunately, there's been a lot of violent crime. We had something here happen in Mt.Washington. And so let's just take a moment for those that you want to remember. All right, we will go ahead and start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Gary?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. We need a roll call. Can I please have board members raise their hands? Can I have board members 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and Teddy is absent tonight. Okay, can everybody please look at their minutes? If you have a moment, please look at your minutes from last meeting. They were sent out to everyone. And then yes, Deb.
Uncle Chuck date right on the last page? No. Someone just put that as my bad. I was thinking, please let the membership know about voting, and I wrote that date down.
Okay, it is November 1st. Okay, so we need that correction, please.
Yep, I need that note.
All right. Is there anybody who'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes? Yes, Brian's making a motion. Do we have a second to accept the minutes? Gary? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, we have to adopt tonight's agenda. Could everybody please review that? And if there are any changes, any deletions or additions, please let us know. Do I have a motion to accept the agenda? Barb Slider and Margot seconds. Thank you. And we have our treasurer report.
Hi, everybody. John Young, treasurer. I will keep this quick because we have a packed agenda. Hopefully you have a treasurer's report within eyeshot of you. I apologize. It's getting smaller and smaller as the year progresses. So we might have to go to 2 pages here in September, or this is September, in October. So the big activity so far in August, because this is your month or year-to-date August report, we have continued to progress on NSP projects in 2025. If you see the reconciliation at the bottom, we are nearly 3/4 of the way there. A couple big outflows. We've had more spending in September so far that'll be on the next month report. The other update I have is that I've continued to work with Jason at CRC to complete the donation to CRC that we talked about last month, the AIG $1,000 for some poolside furniture. Some more details to come, but we have to make sure that that actually gets bought and donated in 2025. So we want to make sure that we get the right furniture for them. Any questions on the treasurer's report? Gary? All in favor? Aye, thank you.
Rick, would you, I'm tongue twisted tonight. Would you like to discuss the NSP update? Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Rick Metter. I'm the NSP manager. At the bottom of the treasurer's report, there is just a summary of NSP projects. There have been a couple surprises. A couple of projects have run over, so we're probably going to have to do what the city calls an informal variance or two and move some funding around to cover everything and make sure that we spend our money for the year, which is $10,000. Because of those surprises, every year we don't elect board members until February. And in March, we have to know and figure out what our NSP projects are going to be and have accurate numbers. And after doing this, 2018, 19, and this year, 1 month just ain't enough. So we are going to start looking and defining NSP projects for 2026 now. By the time we have our November meeting, which is our last meeting of the year, my goal is to know what the NSP projects are going to be and identify the service providers. And then come January, all we have to do is get bids instead of trying to make a guess off the side of our hip based on years prior, because I don't like surprises. So next year we're going to try and eliminate the surprises. So be thinking 2026. We don't know how much money we're going to get from the city yet, but we do want to have a list of things that we would like to do so that we can start identifying what, where, and how much it'll cost. One final thing, I want to identify Mark Rabb right there. Mark has done some pinch hitting for us as far as business district landscaping, and oh my gosh, what an improvement. Thank you. Okay, sweet.
Thank you, Mark. Next, I'm going to introduce our District 2 officers. I'm going to let Captain Swinley introduce everybody. I just want to point out that we have had a significant decrease in crime, and that is due to a lot to Sergeant Sellers and Officer Martin working with us day in and day out to help us with Stanbury, to help us with our community. So I want to make sure we recognize that because it has been invaluable. Our park we were down there today. It was wonderful. It's clean. It is exactly the way it should be as a city park. So I want to make sure we remember that and thank them for everything they've been doing for all of us this year. All right, Captain Swinley.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here. So my name is Dennis Swingley. I'm the District 2 Commander. I'm going to go over some introductions, talk about what happened down on Beacon Street, that homicide, and go over some crime stats and answer any questions that you have. First of all, I want to recognize Councilmember Albee. She's here today. She's a very big supporter of the police, so thank you for being here. So, with us tonight is the homicide commander for the whole Cincinnati Police Department, Lieutenant Jen Mitch. And some familiar faces. We have Sergeant Linda Sellers and Officer Wendy Martin. So I'll put this briefing into a story. So police officers are people too, right? So on that Sunday, I went to church and I turned off my phone. And after church, I met my mom and my sister-in-law at Skyline right there on Beachmont. And we got done eating and I picked up my phone. 4 people shot down in Beacon. That's 3 miles. I'm like, I got to go. So I went straight there, got briefed by the supervisors, checked on the officers, called the chief and our media liaison person, Lieutenant Cunningham, to let the media know that this is a contained incident. There is no threat to the community. So homicide was called in. Lieutenant Jen Mitch came, and she took over the investigation. So we can answer questions about that. But basically, we had a person with a gun go to this apartment complex and shoot 2 sisters and a gentleman who intervened in some way. But she'll have more information. But basically, that happened. So the shooter and one of the sisters went to the hospital and then later succumbed to their injuries. So they processed the scene, took photos, did the investigation, briefed the chain of command, and but it's pretty much over, right? Because everybody involved is deceased. It's a very tragic scene. I grew up 3 blocks from there. So going back to police officers are people too. So next time I saw my mom, she's 89 years old, and she reminded me that I didn't pay my bill. So thanks, Mom, for covering it while I took off. So now we'll answer any questions you may have about what happened on Beacon. If there's none, we'll just continue on. I don't believe he had a record. Yes, ma'am.
I saw in one of the news reports that one of the victims had reported to the police that she felt threatened.
I can answer. Why don't I just give you a brief scenario of what happened, and maybe that will help. The suspect knew one of the decedents. They were acquaintances. They weren't necessarily in a dating relationship, but he had an interest in that. So they knew each other. They had spoken and met with each other on several occasions. And she knew that he was having some mental health issues, and she was trying to get him help. So when she called the police on August 8th, she has an 859 area code, and the Kentucky dispatch answered that call. And she told them that she was concerned for her friend, that he indicated that he might hurt himself, and that he shared a picture of himself with a gun. She wasn't necessarily scared for herself. She was calling to get him some professional help. And after they asked questions, they realized that he lived in Anderson Township. So then brought in the sheriff's department, and you may have seen on the news the body cam from the sheriff's office when they went to his house to talk to him. They also brought in MCT, which is our mobile crisis team, to come talk to him that day. I was not there. I can't answer to all of those questions. But in terms of what happened here a couple weeks ago, was that he did in fact get that gun again. After it had been locked, he broke in to get it, and he came over here. My suspicion, which we are still backing up, going through phone records and talking to people, is that he may have had an obsession, and out of a crime of passion, jealousy, could not control himself and went over there. So he killed Eden and Feven, and Bemnet was a friend of theirs who they called because they knew he was there and they didn't know what to do, so he came to help. Very unfortunate situation all around. I know there was a lot of talk on social media that this was a hate crime. It was not a hate crime. We just need to put the facts together before we can make certain statements, and we were still in the process of doing that. And because everybody was deceased, we didn't have anybody to ask other than family and friends and cell phone records. And so sometimes that's what takes time to be able to share those things. So we always ask, please don't jump to conclusions. Please hold off on opinions on social media until we can get that. And we'll do that as soon as we possibly can. But I think the fact that Captain Swingley was able to tell the community this is an isolated incident, there isn't a gunman out, you are safe. was very helpful and should be helpful in those situations. But that is it. It is technically a closed investigation because everybody is deceased, but we still are ongoing looking at that data, trying to put pieces together for family members. So we're not done, but unfortunately there's nobody to be held accountable because he took care of that himself. So, any questions? Thank you.
And just one more thing. While we were on scene, we were conferring, and we actually sent the sheriffs back out to Mom's house to make sure Mom wasn't hurt, right? So they went through all the windows, they opened the door, went through the house to make sure he didn't shoot Mom before coming to see the sisters. So, okay, next we'll have Officer Winley Martin with the monthly stats.
Hello, everybody. Just going off the rumor things that I kind of want to clear up. I'm kind of an open book. That's kind of what I'm here for, is to bridge the gap between you guys and the police department. You guys got questions, concerns, hearing things, feel free to shoot me a text, email me, call me, do whatever you got to do to get a hold of me. I respond fairly quickly. My email address and my phone number's out there. I can write it down and leave it up here for you guys. One of the things that people brought to my attention is there was a run on September 9th at 1735 Sutton Avenue, and they claim that the police never showed up to a physical altercation. And I guess it's all over social media somewhere. I don't know. I don't pay attention to it. Some people were bothered by it. So I'm the one that personally came to that run, so I can verify and tell you that I went to it. It was held. It came out at 5:04. They called it out at 5:08, and we didn't get there until, on the record, I didn't put it out until 5:32, but I was there a couple minutes prior to that. We were dealing with a gentleman that was actively breaking into cars and stealing cars down in the East End. We ended up getting him, so it kind of used a lot of our resources because we had to set up a perimeter and wait for K-9 to come, so on and so forth. So that's why it was held so long. I saw that was held, so I ran up here real quick. Usually 20 minutes. There was only one call, so normally there's not an ongoing issue because multiple people normally call if there's still a fight. So I went up there, just observed, didn't see anything. So I sat there, turned my lights on, called it out, asked if the caller wanted to be seen. They did not want to be seen, and it was somebody that reported it outside their window. They did give a car. The car came from Amelia, and it came back to a 57-year-old white female, and the call came out as a female said there are people fighting outside of her apartment. Then it stopped responding to call taker. Suspect 1, female white, 30s, dark shirt, blue jeans. Suspect 2, male black, 30s, red shirt, possibly red pants. And then gave out it's a silver Chevy and the plate. So that's all the information we had. So I'm sitting there. There's not much that we can do. I said, if they call back, I'll come back and take a report. And I will note, like I said, it was somebody that was looking out through their window. People involved did not call. So just clearing that up. Like I said, if you guys don't think that we're showing up the runs, I know people are saying that we don't care. Call me. I work. I come up there. I know all the relief guys. I call them. They go up there. And the people that work this beat love this community. So I just wanted to get that out of the air because I know they were bashing the cops everywhere. So your guys' beat cops are pretty good. The complaints that you guys give me, as soon as I leave here, if there's anything that you guys tell me, I text them, and usually by the end of the night, they're like, hey, we got that. I'm like, perfect. Kind of makes my job easy. So just wanted to get that out of the air. So now we'll go to stats. Your guys' stats looked pretty good. Current 28 days, part 1, violent crimes, there was only 3, and unfortunately that was the homicides. The property crimes, you guys had a total of 5. You had 4 thefts, and you had 1 burglary. And the burglary was unknown suspect entered by unknown means in the house and disturbed items. And then the rest of the thefts were just small stuff that nothing was like common, like there wasn't a pattern or anything with it. So I take that for a win in your guys' community. So you guys got any questions?
What was your name again?
It's Officer Wendelin Martin. I go by Wendy, but like I said, I'll leave my email address up here. Everybody has it. The president has it. So if anybody needs it, like I said, it's usually easier to get a hold of me by email because it goes straight to my phone. I can respond pretty fast. My desk, I check it in the morning and when I leave. So it's easier for an email. Anything else? No problem.
Just one more thing to add. We still have an ongoing homeless issue in Mt.Washington. It's not as bad as what it was last year, but Officer Martin knows everyone by picture, by sight. So if you have an issue with a homeless person, you just take their picture, get it to her, and she knows his name, the caseworker, because you can easily find them pretty quick. So just wanted to add that. Yes, sir.
I've noticed the person that was sitting on the bench in front of Walgreens is now gone. I mean, a couple of days ago she was there, but now she's disappeared or.
So I got to follow up with them. The city manager's office was out there offering resources. And normally when that happens, she goes back to her family. So I'm assuming that's where she went.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure on that, but that's normally her pattern. But
as long as she's not sitting there, 24/7.
I'll follow up on it and I'll make sure that happened.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming out tonight. We truly appreciate it. Nikki, would you like to go ahead?
Follow that? Okay, that's all right. We're going to follow that. Hi, guys. Nikki Marksberry, Mt.Washington School. We're going to talk about more upbeat things. How about that? So this coming Saturday at the school, Learning Grove, one of our partners, is hosting a petting zoo. We shared it out on our Facebook page. We are looking for kiddos that are younger than 5. We are looking for the littles, okay? The toddlers, even infants. We are trying to get these kiddos connected to the school. One of the things that we are seeing is families maybe are not spending the resources to do that early education, right? So we are trying to build additional programming so that if you have little kiddos, you think of us and as a destination and a resource. So this week will be the petting zoo. If you get connected to Amy, who was our early childhood liaison, then we have other programming. So for example, on Tuesday evenings, she's going to be running like a drop-in type of play type thing. Right now she's doing band in the bus. We're going to do that for a month. The kids work on music, and then it's going to be another program, and then another program, right? You get the idea. So if you have neighbors with little kids, tell them to call the school and either ask for me or Amy. The petting zoo is open to everyone, so you can share that widely. It's 10:30 to noon on Saturday. And they're going to have a miniature cow and a llama and chickens and stuff that if you've grown up in the city, you've maybe never seen before. So I hope you can come out and join us. What was your question, Emmy?
Do you have a flyer up and down that, like?
I'll get you a flyer. Yeah, I'll get you a flyer. Good call.
I have a question. Do you post that on Facebook or anything?
It is on the Mt.Washington School Facebook page. Any other questions? Which, if you don't like us, please do. That does help me, right? You can share anything that we put there. Some of it's boring. Things like, the lost and found's out of control. Come look for your kid's coat. And sometimes it's other things like, thank you, Emmy, for bringing us cool plants and donating them to the school, right? And a lot of in between. All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Nikki. Is Sands here tonight? Is Sands here? Okay, then we don't have an update from Sands. All right, Jason, you are up. Mark, you might want to announce, sorry, and Nikki, getting back to you, there is the movie at Stanbury, so maybe you could announce that at the movie about the petting zoo.
All right. So I'm Jason. I'm the director here at the center. Just a few program updates. We are running a esports program again this year. That is started this week. It's on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 4:30 to 5:30, and that'll run through just about Thanksgiving. So if any kids, young teens, are interested in doing esports, have them stop on by for that. Esports, yeah. So that it's video gaming against other kids. Tuesdays and Thursdays. It started this week, so 4:30 to 5:30. So Charlie's good if he wants to come in tomorrow. You're all good. We also still have room on our preschool tumbling program. That begins this Friday. It's for ages 3 to 5 from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. So if you have any toddlers or preschool kids running around with something, looking for something to do at 1 o'clock on Fridays, go ahead and sign up for tumbling. It's a good program with Miss Kim. Couple community-wide type issues. We are going to be hosting our trunk or treat on Tuesday, October 28th. That'll be from 6 to 7. So we're looking for people that want to decorate the back of your car and pass out candy to the kids in the neighborhood. It's only about an hour and a half or so of commitment. If you guys can stop by and pass out candy, that'd be great. But again, that's October 28th. It'll start at 6 o'clock and just go for about an hour or so. And then lastly, we are looking to do the luminary again this year. We're looking at doing that on December 14th, which is a Sunday this year. So I'll have more information on that as we get a little bit closer to December, but just to put that on your far out schedule, we are looking for that in December again. So does anybody have any questions? Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, MWCRC, is that you, Bob? All right.
Well, I passed this out to everybody, this sheet. It tells the tower lights. They were just changed for cancer, and they'll be that way until October 15th when Pumpkin Chuck comes on, and that'll stay till first week of November. Then we're getting all new recyclable cans, so I've checked with the waterworks, and that's the only advertisement we're allowed on there. The 3 little triangle, that will be what goes up, and they'll be green. And they'll be up there till the 15th, which is the day of America's Recyclable Day. Then the day after that, we put up Thanksgiving. And that stays till the day after Thanksgiving. Then it'll be Christmas. And then December 30th, it'll change for New Year's. So that's all the changes we have coming with the tower itself. The big thing that happens to keep the tower going, it's not reasonable to keep the lights changing. It costs us $400 every time we change. So this Saturday, we have our new location at the United Methodist Church next to Sands. Thanks to Mark Rabb, he worked it out with his church. We're going to use their kitchen, and we'll have that this week. And all our sponsors are back, so the salads come from Chipotle, the meatballs and sauce and noodles all come from La Rosa's, and Fork Bank is co-sponsors that for the meatball section, and the Ashford does also. And then all the other sponsors on these sheets, they donate something, and Sem gives us a lot of desserts, plus Cervati's gives us a wonderful cake, and we give lemonade, coffee, and tea, and it costs us $10. Nobody can beat the price of our unit there. So I've given you 4 ones, so now you can mark your calendars. I don't use mine. On September 20th is this Saturday. The Halloween one is October 18th, and that's our Halloween one. And then Thanksgiving one, we're doing November 15th. And then we're having our Christmas one, which is December 20th and Santa Claus will be there. So we will have a Santa Claus in town for the holidays. So he'll be there for there. And then anybody who has a business, there's a lot of places around here benefit from the wish tree. This is the 41st year. And Mt.Washington School's one of them. The Ashford's one. Sands. All of them benefit from this, plus throughout the city. I have 350 locations, but we definitely need more locations because out of what I sent out, 22 of them came back, businesses are out of business. So we're looking for new business. So if you have an office building or a doctor's office, anybody who wants to do wish tree, that is in the packet also. So if you have any questions about that, just call me. And if you like to do raffles, Parkinson Support and Wellness has their big event the 27th, and there's 50 baskets being in raffles, and you can take a QR code for that. And then there's one special thing we have to do. We were one of the only communities other than Blue Ash and downtown at UC had 9/11, and thanks to Deb, it was a wonderful program. We had about 75, 80 people, and Dunkin' Donuts supplied all the treats for that. So special thanks to Fork Bank.
Thank you, Deb. That was really, it was a very moving service. Nice to see you, Jake Sieber, up and about again, so thank you. Who is reporting on CDC's behalf? Jim Tucker.
Hey everybody, my name is Jim Tucker. I am representing the CDC. Mike is going to speak to the SEBA Senior Housing Project in a little while, so there are not too many more updates from the CDC this month, apart from the fact that in an effort to be more transparent, which we are here, you all asking for, by the end of this month, there will be a web page on our website addressing where the statuses are of some of our bigger projects that you want to know about. Okay, that's all I got.
That's great.
Questions? Cool.
That's great news. All right, Mark from SPAC.
Okay, there's a lot going on, right? And the park's no exception. Last month, we had a great turnout for Shakespeare in the Park. Biggest turnout I can ever recall. The weather helped. I think it was like 75, just absolutely gorgeous. And then we had a movie last week and another great turnout. 2 more movies to wrap up this month. So I got Lilo and Stitch. The new one is this Friday at 7:45. And then Jurassic World Rebirth next Friday. And then we kind of take a pause in October, and then we got the Pumpkin Chuck on November 1st. And so I got something actually just in today, hot off the press. We're going to start engaging with Explore Nature, which is the education wing of Cincinnati Parks. And they've always done a camp at Stanberry Park, and it's always sold out. We're now going to start doing some family and adult programming. And so far, they've committed to do an evening program at the park next August about singing insects. So you can come out, learn about the insects, probably around 8 o'clock. We'll put more stuff out when it gets closer. And in September, they'll do Creek Walk, and we'll go look for some critters and things like that and look at some fossils in the creek. And I'm hopeful we can do a couple more things to get people to the park. And actually, that's really my passion, is environmental education. And so looping them in is a really big deal for me personally. And then the only other thing I got, starting next month, I'm going to kind of sit down and maybe get a few more SPAC board members, and we're going to come kind of set up camp here before the community council meeting, maybe around 5:30 or so, and just be available to listen to any ideas you may have, any complaints, any thoughts on programming, educational or entertainment-wise. I hear in the past, and people, how do we get a hold of you? How can we meet with you all? Well, here's an opportunity. You might already be here anyways or heading this way. Come a few minutes early, talk to us. We'll see how it goes. I still haven't kind of fleshed out exactly everything we're going to talk about, but we'll do that for the next 2 months and see how it goes, and just try to be open and available to everybody, because I need ideas, and you all have some good ideas. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. someone, this was at a board meeting, correct, that we made this motion? About splitting the profits? Okay, a motion was made at the board meeting to split the profits of the pumpkin chucks. So right now, the community council, we get money from NSP, and Stanberry Park Advisory Council gets the permits waived, the fees for the permits waived to use the park, and also both organizations bring together volunteers. So we have put on this event for many years, but it was always sort of haphazardly of who gets money, who doesn't get money, how much. And so our board wanted to just sort of clarify that and see if the community be willing to vote on the motion that after all costs are covered, that the net profits are split between the two organizations. So that is the motion. Are there any questions about the motion? Yes. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that I support the SPAC and everything that you guys are doing, but if I feel like if the SPAC wants funding for a specific project, I think they can come to the community council with a dollar amount on that, and we can all vote on it here. And I don't really see a reason to like commingle the funds since the pumpkin chuck is put on by the community council, and we can all vote on it here.
Okay.
Well,
Does either?
Well, yeah, I'll add to that.
Okay.
We kind of already do come with a list of projects. NSP dollars at work, as Rick was mentioning, and as you all saw in your budgets, there's money still needing to be spent, and some of that is on my end for the movie licensing and things like that. So we do submit a list. I think we requested $2,300 for events this past year, somewhere around there for live bands or puppets in the park at the beginning of the summer and other things. So we do come here, and you all do get a chance to vote on the NSP funding. From what I understand, you're just saying if we need more funding to come back for other things outside of NSP.
I don't understand why half of the proceeds would be split to the community council and SPAC. Because they're doing the work.
Well, we also, we get the so
But are you guys also on the community council, or are you just on that?
So what happens is that, I have to do the permitting on behalf of the community council. One of the permits that the park waives because of Stanberry Park being involved that would not be waived is almost $850 just to use the park. That is waived because it is partnered with Stanberry Park. If the community council did not partner with Stanberry, that would have to be paid by the community council. So because of that partnership, certain things are waived by the park. They waive their employees that set up all the fencing. They waive all the fencing that we use. So they also store the trebuchet on the park property. So that's some of the things that the park provides. And so I guess that's the only thing I can tell you, having
Yeah, I mean,
do both ends of it. Is that saying the park is saying, hey, if Stanberry is partnering, then you get to get all these things. If you were not partnering with Stanberry Park Advisory Council, they could easily say you have to pay for all of our park labor, you have to pay for the fencing, you have to pay for storage of the trebuchet, and the $800 park fee. So those are things that are covered because of the partnership.
you know, and that is a great question. I mean, this is an example of just cooperation between community groups here, and it's I'm proud of the level of work that we all do combined together to elevate this neighborhood. Stanberry Park does not have any source of revenue. Everything that I do comes from either getting grants, NSP money, or money from the pumpkin chuck. And so to continue to do things we need some sort, and it's either we got the pumpkin chuck or we start charging for events. And I think the pumpkin chuck, we're not getting rich by any means. It's a small amount of money, but it's enough to help elevate what we're already doing to continue to improve the park and activate the park.
I just have a question on clarity on that. I see in our budget here that we do have budgets for the Stanberry Park events.
Mm-hmm.
So are those being funded through here? And if so, I don't think like anyone's advocating to not give the Stanberry Park Advisory Council money. I just think that it has, bringing it here and then, having projects funded does a couple things. It increases visibility for everybody. And I think it would actually increase engagement and community buy-in because everybody's speaking about it in a bigger forum. Everybody's getting more engaged, and some people might, become more aware of the different events or even maybe want to volunteer. So it could, help drive engagement to actually just have, instead of like, all right, you get half, go do your own thing, and, bringing all those things here and going proposal by proposal could actually just drive more community involvement.
Sure.
Could I clarify something?
Thank you.
Because I think that's a really good point. But just to be very clear, this is on. So what is voted on with the NSP proposals is the initial expense that we're going to get from the $10,000 of the city and then how we're going to split that up. Pumpkin Chuck is included in that. If you go down to, it's actually the first three items are all various Pumpkin Chuck line items related to that. That's because the community council is generally putting up the money up front. And so we're going to bear the expense for that. What is being suggested here is saying once we spend $3,000, whatever the number is, and then actually generate a profit off of that, that we would then divide whatever that profit is over and above our expenses with SPAC because they contribute non-financially to putting on the event. I personally think that that's a good idea, but and we did it last year as well. But I just want to be very clear that this is only above the line, basically. Once we've already generated a profit, if there was ever a year where you have really bad weather, last year is a bad example because we have beautiful weather and it was a great event. If you had a bad weather year and we lose money, there would be nothing to split, right? At that point, that is community council taking a loss potentially, or hopefully getting back to even. Does that help provide some context? Or do you guys have additional questions?
Oh, sorry.
I don't know about additional questions. I think I understood the part that it was the additional profit. Other than that, that's great. If that's what the community wants, then that's fine. I just thought that, having things voted on here adds more transparency and engagement, which seemed to be something that the community has pushed for in the past. That's all.
Absolutely. I mean, this is why it's coming to you. That's exactly why we would never, as a board, take a vote and say, well, we just decided this. This is exactly why it is in front of you, precisely for your reason, to discuss it and decide. So that's what we really stress and we think is extremely important. So, yes, Jim, sorry.
I can just speak again.
Well, I know, but nobody can hear you on Facebook. Sorry, this is a Facebook thing. Sorry. There you go.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, since it seems like it's working really well now, like why we need to change it?
It was just formalizing because what would have to happen, and I want to talk, I guess when you talk to it as SPAC, I can talk to you about the community council, but you can talk about it as SPAC, that it was sort of basically, you would have to come and say, can we have some of the money, even though at times SPAC was providing more of the volunteers than anybody to run.
Yeah, Jim, I think it's just a matter of formalizing it. Where last year, some people asked that we formalize it and put it out to the community, where last year maybe that wasn't exactly followed. I wasn't here when that happened, but some people requested that we come here and mention it, and so.
Someone want to make a motion that we do divide it that way? I mean, this is what that's on our agenda. That we would divide.
No, I understand, but we got to finish the discussion.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to add.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess, yes, Deb.
This is the first time hearing about it, but my first thought is that in your first comment, you felt like maybe some of the NSP funding that we get and the support that we get is because there's a visible connection between SPAC and the community group. So by having that in writing, so to speak, that we're funding this pumpkin chuck comes between the two, doesn't that kind of formalize the fact that there is a connection between the two groups? So when you go and say, I need to, get my fencing for free and my anything that has to do with that pumpkin chuck, all those fees that you mentioned in the front. Is that what you're asking, is that we need to have something that makes it so it's very transparent to those who allow SPAC to get those things for free? Is that? So I guess I don't understand.
I think what was coming up, and I can't speak on behalf of SPAC, I have to speak on community council, was that it came up last year in a board discussion and vote. We wanted to make sure that the community understood why this would be happening. And so we just thought it'd be best to discuss it as a group, because the trebuchet, the people that run the trebuchet, that's all Stanbury Park Advisory people. The community council they work so seamlessly together, and there was always a question. A lot of work is put in maintaining, building the trebuchets. All of that is done by SPAC. And it came up last year saying, we're doing all this work and yet we are seeing none of the profit. And we always have to ask for money. Some years someone might take all the NSP money and SPAC gets $0. And SPAC is saying, we're trying to have this great partnership. It'd be nice to have something that's guaranteed every year.
And just to be clear, I mean, we're not threatening to not do any of these things. I think what Priscilla's just saying is there's value in what we bring as well as an organization, and we bring a lot of the volunteers and especially the folks that run the trebuchets, because you need a lot of folks to do that. So we're not saying we're not going to provide that. We're just saying we bring a lot to the table as well.
Yeah, and it came up that a new trebuchet had to be built. That was the main thing. A new trebuchet has to be built, and there were no funds for that. So that could have, I think that's what sort of came up, I think at one point, was saying, we need to build a new trebuchet. That other trebuchet is getting quite old, and we only have one right now. So now someone had to salvage wood from my yard, and, so now it's sort of saying, hey, we've got to make sure we maintain that, and how can the community council help them maintain it? And, the trebuchet master is my neighbor, so I got to hear it first, and so that was sort of where it started the discussion of, if we can't have a trebuchet, how do we even have the event? So that's where it came from. Matt?
So you need a second to the motion?
Well, I don't think the motion's been made, because we're not through discussing. So I just don't want to take anything away from the people who want to discuss this. So before it goes for a motion, is there any more discussion? Okay, now we can take a motion.
I was going to make a motion that we split the profits of the pumpkin chuck between Stanbury Park Advisory Council and Mt.Washington.
Actually, we should have done that first. Is there a second? Sorry, then we should have had discussion. I'm sorry. Is there any more discussion before we take a vote? Okay. All those in favor? All those opposed? Got 2 opposition. Any abstentions? And I have to abstain. Jim abstains. I abstain. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. We have American Legion. Does anybody want to speak on behalf of the Legion tonight? Oh, Rick does not have anything for the Legion.
I actually have something.
Oh, there we go.
As I put down my baby blanket. Okay, I forgot to mention, next Thursday evening, Post 484 is doing their monthly fundraiser, and we are the beneficiaries again this time. So if you come and you donate any cash at the event, 7:30 to 10:30. Yep, Rick's saying yes. I'm going to go to bed before that. So somewhere after 7:30, if you show up at the bar and you give them any cash, the Post will match it, and then it's going to come to my school foundation. Last year, we were able to raise $1,000 in one night, which is huge for us. So if you are thirsty, I have been told they're the cheapest drinks in the neighborhood, other than what's in your fridge. So hopefully I see you guys there. It's our conference night, so we're going to be coming in a little tired, but I promise that, Thursday the 25th, next Thursday evening.
It's a good band. Oh, and there's a live band. Okay, great. Did City Council candidate Kevin Farmer ever make it tonight? Did Kevin Farmer make it? All right. Then we have Cincinnati Council Member Anna Albee here to speak about sidewalks and violence.
Thank you. Is this for people in the room or for people online?
For Facebook, yeah.
Okay, so I'll use I have a loud voice, but I'll use it for the people online. Well, hello everyone, I'm Anna Albee. I just have to say I've never heard the talk of a trebuchet so much at a community council, and I appreciate the historical accuracy of it being a trebuchet and not a catapult. So that's a really nerdy thing for me to say. Anyway, hi everyone. So I did get a request to talk about sidewalks from one of your members. So I'll get to that at the end. But usually I come to do 2 different community councils a month to talk about the city's approach to gun violence prevention and what that looks like. So I'm going to run through that pretty quickly here because I know you have more left to do tonight. So I usually think about this in 3 buckets. The first bucket is legislation. In Ohio, we literally are not allowed to pass any laws at the local level when it comes to guns. So there's a thing at the state level called a preemption law. Has anyone ever heard that phrase before? Okay, our city worker has. Great. Thank you, Jesse. So the state has passed a law that literally says that local municipalities are not allowed to pass gun laws, gun regulations. So that means us at the city level are literally not allowed to do any of that. And the reason why I wanted to highlight that, because this instance that the police covered earlier, and with the woman calling and saying the guy, had a gun and was, at risk of hurting himself, would have been the perfect occasion if we had had a red flag law at the state level, but we don't. And so one of the things I did last year is work with our Cincinnati police, who are amazing, to introduce an out-of-home gun storage program. And frankly, this situation is exactly why we wanted to introduce it. It allows people who need to get a gun out of the house for any reason to store it for free with Cincinnati police. So if you think about someone who's in a mental health crisis, or maybe if there are kids in the home visiting for, Christmas or something like that, or maybe people are moving or traveling and don't want their gun stolen, you can now store your gun with Cincinnati police for free for up to 6 months. And sadly, I think, that instance that was described earlier would have been a good case to use something like that. So I'll say bucket number 1, we can't pass a law. So bucket number 2 is law enforcement. But for me, when we talk about law enforcement and violence prevention, it's more than just our officers on patrol. It's the work we do around our Crime Gun Intelligence Center. Has anyone heard of the CJIC? Oh, I saw a couple. Oh, okay. Jesse, you're not counted in here. I saw a couple people nod. So the CJIC, our Crime Gun Intelligence Center, it is a partnership with the national ATF and local law enforcement. And essentially what it does is it traces crime guns to figure out who the active shooter is. So when a gun is fired, on each shell casing, a unique imprint is left. So what we do is our investigators, when there is a shooting, they will go collect the shell casing, and then they'll be able to trace if the same gun was used in this shooting, used in this shooting, used in this shooting, and then eventually create an investigation that ties that all together to let us track down the person who's doing this. So our CJIC is a really important tool that we have. We also have work supporting our survivors. So we have a victim assistance liaison unit. Those are a group of social workers that sit within Cincinnati Police that will work with the survivors of when there is a gun homicide or gun crime of any kind, and they're providing survivor support. That includes helping them navigate back and forth with police during investigations or during the judicial process, so going with witnesses to court and doing all that. And they also have regular support groups. And I think that's really important because we have a lot of neighborhoods where when gun violence is common, where there's just a lot of trauma, and this is a really important support that we provide. And I'm really proud that I fought for additional funding to expand that group out. We also have a partnership with Women Helping Women. So if there's a call for domestic violence, we actually send advocates from Women Helping Women to the scene. So we're able to provide the care and response needed at that scene for that instance. Again, just a really important way we are supporting survivors. We also, for me, when I think about how do we use this, we have our alternative response to crisis team. Has anyone heard of ARC? See, y'all didn't know there was going to be a pop quiz tonight. So our alternative response to crisis team, so if a phone call comes in to 911, that's a non-violent call, specifically around mental health or homelessness, we will send a paramedic along with a behavioral health specialist to respond to that call. And that's really important because that leaves our officers free to respond to other calls for service, but also, again, providing the right kind of care to that instance so we can hopefully provide that person with what they need. So again, when we think about law enforcement, there's a lot of tools there. This week, we signed off, just today, we signed off on an additional $5.4 million investment towards crime prevention, and that includes additional funding for police overtime, funding for more lights and cameras around the city. There's a very nerdy thing out there called crime prevention through environmental design, and the whole concept is how can you create safety by changing the physical space, right? So you can imagine, would you rather walk through a dark alley or a well-lit alley, right? So you'd rather have the well-lit alley, and then if there's issues with property crimes or whatnot, having cameras is also really important. So we have a big investment into cameras. We recently launched a drone program, and this idea is to have drones be first responders. So it helps the officers understand what they're walking into, but also if someone calls for service and there's no one there or nothing's happening, it also saves us kind of that run. So helps with all that. So that was a big investment. Another thing that I really push for is the youth outreach investment. So down at our transit stations, you might remember a year and a half ago, there were some issues with some of the kids gathering after school. So what we did is we have a group of outreach workers who are working with the kids, building trusted relationships, and then helping provide them with what they need. All right, so that's kind of the law enforcement bucket. There's a lot there. Last thing, when I talk about community safety, to me, it comes back to, are people being paid enough to afford a roof over their head, fresh food on the table, access to health care, and what we're doing to support community groups? And one of the things I've been focusing on this past year is the food piece. Because oftentimes when I go into communities that are struggling, they talk about, hey, our kids are hungry. We don't have a grocery store. So I'm really proud. I've led the charge to unlock over $1 million for programs specifically helping with food access in our neighborhoods hit hardest by gun violence. So my hope is if we're able to help feed people, give them food and shelter, we can stabilize communities. So that was a lot in the violence reduction space. Any questions there? Otherwise, I'll jump into the sidewalks update that Karen requested. Oh, here we go.
The very first thing you mentioned, you can repeat it back to the mic, but the first thing you mentioned with the gun lockers, is that voluntary only or involuntary? So like in this situation,
No, voluntary only. So the out-of-home gun storage is voluntary only because, again, we cannot pass any gun legislation or do anything that requires people to do something at the local level. So we're really focusing on that. I call it kind of an opt-in red flag because it's purely voluntary. Another thing I did is get free gun locks into every library in the county. So if you know anyone who needs a gun lock, they can stop into any local library and grab one. But good question. Yeah, I should have specified. It's all voluntary. We also, this weekend, I worked with Cincinnati Police and we handed out gun locks at the Bengals game because one of the issues we've had is cars being broken into and guns being stolen out of cars. So we gave out 77 gun locks at the Bengals home opener this weekend. Yeah. Any other questions on that? Otherwise, I'll touch on the sidewalk thing really quickly. Okay, so Karen reached out. So one of the things I did I have a real passion for sidewalks. I live in Madisonville. We have some pretty rough sidewalks out there, and I'm an able-bodied person, and even I have, fears of breaking an ankle walking around my neighborhood. So one of the things I did is I really pushed for a $100,000 pilot program to help residents fix their sidewalks. We have a couple neighborhoods kind of on the west side. It's Roll Hill, South Fairmount, North Fairmount, East Westwood, and a couple others I'm not naming, where we're piloting this. And Karen had some questions about why are we doing that? And the idea was we wanted to start with small neighborhoods. I think all the 8 neighborhoods combined are maybe the footprint of Mt.Washington, to be honest. And then we were also looking at, cost of sidewalk repair can be really expensive. So one of the other things we took into account is where are neighborhoods where the residents on average have a low median income. So we can, help those who might not have that disposable income to do the $2,000 sidewalk repair. So for now, it's just a pilot. We got $100,000 in the pot. $50,000 are already out the door, which is great. But I'm personally really interested in being able to expand this program ongoing because I think sidewalks are important. So that was my update there. I'm sorry Karen's not here. Any other questions? Awesome. Well, thank you all. I'm here in my official capacity, but I've got some information about my campaign that I'll leave out as well. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mike? This is the project at 5450.
All right, so to give everyone an update on where we're at with the Belmar Hill Mt.Washington project, we received direction from the city on August 26th that we can move to next steps of requiring some more right-of-way to push the project closer to Beachmont Avenue. With that information, we immediately told our architect to start designing the site plan for the new designated area. And our hope, no promises, but our hope is that we have a site plan with renderings that we can share at October's meeting. Priscilla and I had a long talk at the 9/11 ceremony. She asked me to touch on a few other things. Mention of a $8 million grant, I guess, came up last month. I wish. We have not received an $8 million grant. This was in the presentation back in January. This is housing tax credits. We have not gotten a grant, but if anyone has a source on them, we love it. So no information has been since there. Last piece to mention, these right-of-way discussions, they take a long time, and this has been in the works since February. Since then, this project has been, from our end, completely on hold, waiting for further direction from the city. Hence, we have not been able to provide any updates. This is the first update since that we've moved on since February when we started this. And that's really, the update I have to provide at this point. Besides, our goal is, again, to provide renderings and site plans for the October meeting. Sorry?
Geological.
We are not going to be giving soil tests to any individuals. They are going to go to the departments that review them for the development process. And that is our right, and that's how we're going to go.
Can I ask one question? I'm on the
Hold on.
I'm on the Hillside Initiative group, and I'm just wondering, the city of Cincinnati for a year is contracting with a geological firm to study the hillsides and decide what must be done. Are you guys involved? Will you have access to that firm to find out what they think should be done on that property?
We have attended the Hillside Initiative things as well, but we got a licensed geotechnical person, company. So we are relying on them. They're experts at their profession, and we are moving forward with what they have decided is a safe site. We don't even have a site plan right now. We will know like we do. I told them on August 26th when I got the email, I forwarded it to our architect and said, start designing. So we don't know what the site plan will be. Like I said, hope to show it on October. Sorry?
How does he know what to design if he doesn't know the results from, don't design a wall or don't design a wall?
Well, the whole delay on the design is based off what right-of-way the city was going to be able to work with us on acquiring. So now that he has the new right-of-way, we were able to push the project closer to Beachmont. So now he will design it based off what is needed. A wall, no wall, we won't know until he makes a site plan.
So if you're saying that they've deemed it a safe site, I would think that they would have to say like, to make it safe, you would need X, Y, and Z. And that's kind of where our whole question has been since January is, what's gonna be about the wall and the X, Y, Z to make it safe.
I can show you more in October when we have an actual plan.
You said he's deemed it safe, so I would think.
He's deemed the soil appropriate to develop.
With no regard to walls or anything.
I don't really know what else I can say is that we do not have a site plan. We do not have a design. He is designing it. I'd say let's wait to the appropriate time to have those discussions. And
But it's just, coming from the people who live at the top of the hill, we have our concerns that.
and we've been telling you since January when Jake spoke with you on the line that we would invite you to our office when we have site plans to share with you. And we have continued to honor that commitment. We do not have site plans right now. We're hoping for October, and that's what we're committing to.
Well, I think our concern is not just the site plans, but the safety of it, which you do know, because you said said it was.
I understand, but we are putting a very large financial commitment to this project. So, yeah, we both do. We have that shared commitment. I agree.
Yeah, we've been here a generation now. You have, you just bought it. Right, I've been there 20 years. How long have you been there?
It's a
30. 35.
So here's one thing. This has kept, I think, of course, all of everybody, and it's kept me up at night. And I don't even have a home there. Is there any way a wall wouldn't hurt yours, let's say, and a wall would make you extremely happy? You're not against the project. You just want the wall. Is there any way the CDC could explore getting a grant for a retaining wall? I mean, would it hurt anything to do it, to just explore that together to see if that can happen? Yeah, go right ahead. Just a question. I mean, I'm just trying to see if there's a path forward.
Jake Sieber with Sieber Construction. We don't know about the wall in the site plan. As Michael says, the architect was just given it to August 26th. He is looking at what needs to be done from an engineering standpoint. So he will come up with his engineering, which will have to be passed by the city, and then he will determine then if a wall is needed or not. If a wall's needed, it'll be needed, but you're asking for, can you have a wall? And the architect and engineers have to do their layout and their engineering.
Well, we were just saying, we just want to make sure that it is done to standards and safely, and if.
Well, the city is going to, the city is going to require that.
So, well, the city's requiring you to be safe for your project. The problem is our neighborhood is built on the hill above that.
Okay.
And then if you do something.
Again, you're asking us to comment on engineering that hasn't been done yet.
Well, some of it's been done, but that's the part you don't want to tell us.
The engineering has not been done. As Michael said, the architect was given the go-ahead on August 22nd. Please, just wait until he comes up with it, and then we can share that.
Would that be after you go to city planning or before?
Well, actually, you know what?
We are not going to city planning before October's board meeting.
Okay.
That is, this development takes months. We have been on hold for 7 months based on your concerns. We are working with the city for 7 months, and the reason why the delay was, because Priscilla asked this, is that they were finding the final design for the path coming up the hill. They have their design or close to final design, which is why they said this would be workable right away. So we are now doing what you asked and pushing the project closer to Beachmont.
We didn't ask that. We did not ask that.
No, they didn't.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you know what I think we should do is, Jesse is here. Jesse, could you address any of these questions?
Yeah.
Do you want me to bring the microphone to you?
Yeah, can I do it? In my transition, or do you want me to?
Yeah, I want you to do it. You're going to be up next. Okay, so we have a city planner here, and I think Jesse can talk about this, certainly much more than. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Priscilla. I appreciate it. For all you guys who I don't know, I think I haven't met many of you here. I'm Jesse Urbancic, Senior City Planner with City Planning and Engagement. I'm here to talk about the neighborhood plan, but I'll touch on the project that you guys were just talking about. When was the last time you guys had like a bigger development come through your department? Because a lot has kind of changed with the city processes to get something like this approved. So you're talking about a geotechnical report. That is a requirement for the city. So for any development to go start with the city, you have to submit through the Coordinated Site Review Program. So that's a process that's held by our buildings department, which is a process mandated for every project within the entire city. It's reviewed by a dozen city departments, including Office of Environmental Sustainability, Parks, Waterworks, and all that. So they have to have a minimum of 2 meetings for that, and that's internal. But then we have a client meeting with the applicant to talk about all the comments, questions, and concerns from each of the appropriate city departments. So they all have to approve on that, and they can't object and then once they all get it, like all the eggs in their basket and get all their previous approvals then they can go to City Planning Commission. So actually, since this is in the hillside, it will need hillside review, which automatically makes it a public hearing through our zoning hearing examiner. And there might be other like objections or other conditions placed on other departments that the applicant team will have to adhere to. And there's also a requirement to come present the project to the community council. So I hope that answers a few of your guys' questions. So the community council will get notified too, and we'll email it. And then property owners within 400 feet will be notified. But I think the applicant team will make sure to reach out to the appropriate parties and to all of you. We'll just make sure everyone's notified for that.
You may not also have to post something. I thought there was something that had to be posted.
So if it's a subdivision, there's an actual post, but I'm sure something could be done for that. But and then again, this process takes a while. So even if they submit it, they might have to come back for like departments might ask for other information or conditions. So sometimes I've seen projects that go submit through coordinated site review that take 2 years. So as much as like we want stuff to get built, sometimes it takes a while to get stuff built. So I hope that gives you guys. Go ahead.
Why did Wawa pull out?
I do not know, but I can.
It's Anderson. Sorry, it's not
Okay.
That's Anderson.
Yeah.
That's Anderson.
Their sandwiches are pretty good though, if you haven't had them. But all right, so I am here. Could you care if I transition to the neighborhood plan? All right, so I appreciate you guys having me back.
Any more questions about this tonight? So can you explain that they will have a chance to be involved in this process?
Yep.
Correct.
Yeah. So before I do, I also want to introduce my colleague Sophia Ferris-Rowe, who will also be project manager with me.
Yes, hi, I'm Sophia Ferris-Rowe, also with the Department of City Planning and Engagement. I will be assistant project manager on the neighborhood plan. I just joined the department last August, so officially over a year now. And I'm excited this will be the first plan that I get to see the beginning of. So I'm excited to work with all you guys on this.
Awesome. Thank you, Sophia. So where we are, and I apologize for my lack of communication on my end, but right now, nothing has really happened with the neighborhood plan other than forming the steering committee. So the steering committee is a group of key stakeholders that will help guide the process of the plan and help make sure everyone's voices are heard. So right now, I'm thinking about having the steering committee to be around 20 to 25 people. So like an equal mix of the community council members, CDC members, business owners or your business group, schools and parishes, and then just diverse people with diverse backgrounds and organizations. So right now, that's what I'm looking to do. I created a flyer and a form to gauge your involvement. You don't just have to join the steering committee. If you just want to join future subcommittees, which nothing has been created at this, or if you want to just be informed about the plan, or if you want to help at events, there's a whole form online. You can gauge it. I'll make sure to email it out tomorrow too, just so that way it's there. And then I hope to finalize the steering committee by mid-October. So basically, the second steering committee has not happened. So I just want to be clarified that the first steering committee was just a preliminary meeting for me to start knowing the people of the neighborhood and who else to bring to the table. I only know what I'm told too sometimes, and when I was here back in April, that was my first time ever with this neighborhood. So I'm still learning myself, and I really thank you guys for your patience. And this is my actual first plan I'm starting instead of taking over from colleagues who left the city. So then the steering committee will be tasked with creating a list of events. I know there's a lot of stuff coming up this fall. So basically just having the steering committee out there, getting involved with the community, creating engagement ideas. And they're also tasked with who else do we need to reach out to, like diverse backgrounds, including like teens, schools, renters. I also plan to bring in a representative from every applicable city department and the Hillside Trust. I have a relationship with Eric Russo there. And I want to make sure we build up a team who will make sure they're here for the long run of this duration of this plan. And then also I'm going to task the steering committee with creating a community-wide survey. So that way we can have it throughout a few months of the planning process. And then later on in October, I'm hoping to have the steering committee finalized. And then I would love to have a meeting, whether it's at a community council meeting or another meeting virtually or just somewhere else, talking about exactly what the neighborhood planning process for the city looks like, hoping to solidify the neighborhood process for your guys' neighborhood, and just to give overviews of what comes out of the plans. And basically, I'll give you an example, like examples of other plans we've worked on. I've been very fortunate that right now I'm working on another plan in East Price Hill with the city manager's office, and we're creating a standardization of neighborhood plans and creating an implementation plan or workflow. So that way, these plans, once they get approved, they don't just sit on the shelf. So that's also something I'm working kind of concurrently with this. So I think it's actually an ample time to start a new neighborhood plan. So that way we all can work together and figure it out. And then that's basically all I have. But again, we're looking for members of the steering committee or just anyone who's interested. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you guys may have. Pretty easy. Thank you.
Oh, Jim Tucker.
What's up, Jim?
Are there any specific groups that you would like to bring onto the steering?
So that's what I'm still trying to figure out. So everything outside of like community councils, CDCs, business owners, but mainly anyone of color, renters, elder population. I think I want to really engage with the younger population too. I don't know if it's appropriate to have, I guess, anyone like 18 or older too, like just to get that input. But I definitely know I'll be wanting to talk with students and kids as well, because it is their community. And I know you guys have a great school system. So awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. This is what's going to happen, guys. All right. So we are over again this month in time. So Julie, Margot.
Just one more reminder, Sunday, I'm sorry, September 28th, Mt.Washington Cemetery, our 1855 cemetery, we're having 2 tours, one at 1 p.m., one at 4 p.m., and proceeds from admission all go to care of the cemetery. I don't know if you know, for 40 years, a small group of neighbors formed a nonprofit and took care of it because it was abandoned to the city for eight years and it was never even mowed. So we're going to be, 8 of us are all going to be in historically appropriate clothes, and we're reenacting the lives of 8 people there, just 10 minutes each. It's going to be very cool. We have a lot of interesting people. I'm going to be a woman whose body was body snatched from the cemetery in 1878 and taken to the anatomy lab at Medical College of Ohio. We have a lot of really interesting stories. Please come. Thank you. Margot.
Just quick update on Pumpkin Chuck. So November 1st at noon, Stanberry Park. Planning is going great. So we have our food trucks in order, beer in order, entertainment in order. Donations are coming in. So thank you for everyone who's donated and sponsored. Exciting new ways to chuck your pumpkin this year. And of course, our trebuchets are coming along famously. And the park is looking gorgeous. So come see us on November 1st.
Teddy's not here tonight, and so she tasked me. She said, tell everybody holiday market is happening. It's going to happen behind the businesses. Actually, Emmy, would you like to talk about it? I think you're part of the planning. Is there anything you need to say? Okay, we are going to have vendors. It's going to be November 22nd. I think it's 4 to 8 p.m., I think, in the business district parking lot. So a lot of things happening in the next 6 weeks or so. So hope to see all of you out there. Anything for the good of the order? Anything for the good of the order tonight before we go? Yes. Yes, Dunkin' Donuts. Okay, so Dunkin' Donuts, we did vote on that variance. They will be starting. Bob, do you know when that construction will be happening?
He's hoping to get started in January with something and hopefully be open end of March.
Okay, so end of March. Okay. Anything for the good of the order before we let you guys get out of here? Margot. Yes, we've got to thank Mark. Mark stepped up. If you see how great the business district looks, that's because of Mark. Mark really... I know. Well, we want to, we want to thank you. We want to thank you and Gary for doing some upkeep. Deb. Yes, and Jack sprayed. Yes. Wait, no.
So I'd like to thank again Mark Rabb for all of his help with the pumpkin chuck, Bob Wetterer for help with the pumpkin chuck, Post 484. Priscilla, thank you for coming. Mike, thanks for coming. Saw a lot of people there. Like to see more. I'd like to see that event get bigger and bigger and end up in the park someday.
All right. I just have one quirky good of the order. My other passion besides Mt.Washington, as many of you know, is I coach a women and a breast cancer dragon boat team. Won't get into what it is, but I coerced 2 of my board members to come on my team. We came in third. We lost the silver medal by 0.07 of a second. So, but they were great. Brian was there. So these wonderful people came out. So that is it. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Oh, great. We have it. Great. Everybody have a good night. And Gary seconds. Thank you.